Hi guys, buckle up because this is gonna be a long one. I'm doing market recap for my last two markets. You will get to see all the market footage, numbers, recaps, sale product, what sold, what not, and my feeling about all the markets that I have done in 2025. I'm combining two markets in one video just to get my life easier because I don't have enough time to upload two videos because I have other videos already planned. First, we're gonna go back to Makers Market in Wollongong, which was 2-day market. It's one of my biggest markets and you will get to see some market footage. I don't have a lot. I have before and after of each day. I think my husband managed to catch me with some customer interaction and he managed to walk through the market. I'm yet to see that footage and see how that went. I will roll that footage first and then we'll talk about that market. Running out of yarn. I need to tighten my tension. $8.
Have a lovely day. Do you need a bag?
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. One day I'll be One day I'll be yours. One day I'll be yours. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. Life changes just open the door. One thing's certain, I'll always be yours. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours.
If you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Tiana. I'm the maker behind Also Stitch, and we have market recap. Maker's Market is an expensive market. I pay $320 to be there. I don't get to choose the spot. Last year I was downstairs in the lobby. This time I was upstairs in the ocean room. That's what the room is called. It's on the second floor. The benefit of that room, it's aircon and it's locked during night, while the lobby is usually not locked and it's accessible to everyone who is visiting gym or restaurant or whatever is there in that building. Not a lot actually. There is security, so even when I was downstairs last year I wasn't scared that much. But this time there was a huge difference for me. I'm gonna turn this a bit around and I'm gonna give you the exact number of sales I had for this market at the beginning, just so we can discuss what I have discovered and what happened and why this market wasn't as successful as last year. So last year in November at this market I did slightly less than $3,000, which is amazing. I usually say market is successful if I can get 10 times what I pay for stall fee, and 3,000 is almost 10 times of 320, and that is a successful market for me. Anything less than that, if it's half, I will still consider it for the next year. Anything less than that, it's fail. This year it was almost fail, like barely fail, but there is a reason for that and I'm gonna talk about it in a second. How much I did $1,432, which is almost half of what I did last year. It felt like a slap in the face because it wasn't the market's fault. It was my fault. I talked to all my stallholders' friends. We are all the same people there every year, and they had successful year this year too. It was for most of them the exact same success as last year. So what happened? Why did I not succeed? I dived deep into the numbers, and since I'm doing square and I put everything in my square, I have my laptop here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at, because we will go through the numbers. All my sales are put through square and even cash sales. That is the easiest way for me to have everything in one place in case ATO requires any information. We need to keep these records for 5 years for ATO. ATO is Australian Taxation Office. In case you don't know, I'm from Australia. I'm not Australian, I just live in Australia at the moment. So the easiest way for me to have all the data in one place is put everything in the square, and if ATO requires anything, all I need to send to them is reports. And another reason it is good, because you can go back, you can compare your data, you don't have to take any spreadsheets or anything like that. So what happened last year? So I'm just gonna insert the picture so you can see my setup. I was in the lobby and I had slightly bigger setup. Usually spots are 3 by 2.4, and for me that is a struggle, because if I'm going full in, I'm usually set up for my 3 by 3 gazebo, and I always struggle when there is 3 by 2.4, because that means that I have no place to sit. And this time I decided I'm not gonna bring my clothes, because the clothes are the thing that usually sticks out very much, and me and my husband are uncomfortable for 2 days with no place to sit comfortably, especially if we are back to back with wall. If we are back to back with other people, we still get to have a small space of passage between us, and we kind of squeeze in there. I didn't even know what spot I'm gonna get. I just assumed I'm just gonna be safe and not bring my clothes. That being said, not bringing my clothes is one of the biggest reason why I didn't succeed in this market, because my clothes has always been selling really good. Last year I had t-shirts, hoodies, bags. I had huge variety of colors, sizes. I had a lot. And this time when I parked my car before we were unloading, 2 girls who are helping with the organizer, first thing they saw me, "We are buying your clothes this time." I'm like, "No, you're not, girls. I didn't bring any." And I don't regret, because I struggle with clothes, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, but clothes are good sales. If there's anything that people need to buy, it's t-shirts, but they do also buy hoodies. So clothes are always a good seller at the market, because people need clothes. People don't need plushies and 10,000 of scrunchies and hair clothes. So yes, clothes is still a good seller. Why I struggle with clothes? It is the managing the stock. I don't have space in my house to stock all my designs in different colors and sizes and handle them when I'm not at the market. Since this year I reduced the number of markets I'm gonna do, I knew that my stock is gonna sit more than be on the markets, and I just didn't want to have a sitting stock in my house. That's why I slowly phased out my clothes. The only market I prepped my clothes was for Supanova, and I'm grateful I did. We did between $2,000 and $3,000 just in the clothes. The second reason why I'm not doing clothes is the margin profit. My margin profit on t-shirts is between 40 and 50%, while margin profit on plushies is 90%. That is a huge difference. There is a lot of upfront costs to get the t-shirts and prepare them. It is less work. It's definitely less handwork, and it's easier on my body, but at the same time it is upfront cost, and it is the inventory handling problem for me, because I don't have a space to handle so many clothes. T-shirts are easier than hoodies. Last year when I had hoodies take so much space that I just wasn't in because I wasn't sure how many markets I'm gonna do. If I were to commit to do this business like proper every weekend, yes, that would be successful. I used to do that 3 years ago. I used to do markets every Saturday and Sunday. Occasionally I would pick up Fridays, and I did that while I was working full time. It was a lot, but it was manageable because I was doing hair accessories at a time. Half of my products were plastic hair cloths, which I wasn't hand making, and the other part were bows and scrunchies, which I was hand making, but they are quick. They don't require a lot of time, and I could easily sew 200 scrunchies a week and do 3-day market. That honestly burned me out, and today scrunchies are not selling as good as they used to 3 years ago. That is the second reason why this market didn't succeed, because all my scrunchies and bows, I couldn't bring my hair clothes because this is handmade market. I was just gifting them with the purchase, so my prices were reduced to only 1/3 of what I used to sell them years prior, especially last year, because I had 2 scrunchie boards and 1 big XXL scrunchie board, and this year my prices were 1/3. I was still selling them really good. I was actually surprised how good they sell, but I don't think people would buying them if I didn't reduce the price to 1/3 of what I normally sell. So technically I lost my sales on clothes because last year I did around $1,000 just in clothes. I did $1,000 just in scrunchies. This year I did around $400 in scrunchies, but if I had full prices that would be like $1,200. Last year my sales in Plushies were around $1,000, so technically I did the same this time. So my sales for Plushies were around $1,000, same as last year. So this was a successful market if we look that I did the exact same in Plushies last year and this year. What killed my market was not having my embroidery clothes and reducing the price for scrunchies. And that is the reason why this year's market wasn't successful. And all I could do was to accept that, knowing that I don't plan on bringing my clothes because for the next year I'm gonna do even less markets. I have reduced so many markets this year, and the plan for next year is gonna be even more. But we're gonna talk about that in the beginning of the next year, when I will talk more how I'm gonna handle my business for the next year and what are my plans. Scrunchies. I'm actually surprised. My board by the end of the day was almost empty. I did have some backstock at home that I didn't bring because I didn't even expect to sell out. So I was left over with a bit of scrunchies for my next market. Those were more like Christmas scrunchies and Halloween scrunchies, and yeah, they wouldn't sell at this market anyway. But I was surprised. I was so happy because I've cleared so many scrunchies. Now with everything that I'm left, I'm happy just to donate that to the same children charity that we will be donating our crochet and knit makes with Litza from Coco's Crochet. I've researched the business. They do accept hair accessories, and I will be donating everything to the same charity. So when it comes to sales, scrunchies were around $400. I've sold only 4 snap tabs. Let me tell you another reason why this market was very, very bad for me. There were no children and young adults. I always say that kids are not my customers. I know I sell plushies, but you would be surprised how much money I make on teenagers over 16 who work or have money, and young adults, people in their 20s. Young adults are the best customers for me. That's why my uni markets are performing the best. Kids, no. Stay tuned for the second market recap. That was a school market. You will see why kids are not my customers. So for this market, the problem was there was no young adults. There were a couple of kids, but not young adults. Most of the crowds were older people, like older ladies in their 70s and 80s, and they were buying. My friend, she is doing like kitchenware, sewn like pot holders and things like that. She said she did amazing. All the ladies with pottery that make bowls, plates, mugs and things like that, they did amazing. Let's just say that the demographic for this market was older ladies, and they do have money and they are willing to spend, and they appreciate handmade. They were not buying for their grandkids. I did have a couple of ladies look into the lobbies, but none of them splurged for their grandkids and things like that. It was very slow and boring market for me, I have to admit. Will I do it again? Yes, I will, because it's not market's fault. I know it's mine fault, and I'm not gonna change anything. Next time, this market will be held in May, and it will be targeted more for Mother's Day market, and I'm just gonna book a small spot with one table, and I'm gonna do only crochet, and that's it. I'm gonna stick to what I enjoy making. I'm still gonna offer some of my embroidery bits and bobs. I'm not gonna continue with clothes because I don't want to store clothes. Clothes take so much space and they cost a lot of money, and I don't want to do that. Now that you know how much I already earned, let me just break them down and tell you what sold. There was one big purchase. I'm sure you've noticed that in the before and after. On the first day, it was Toothless. Toothless was gone immediately. Toothless has always been a good seller. Any market I do, Toothless will be gone. And guess what? The person who bought it was probably my age, over 40, 50. She's Toothless fan. She took it down and she was with two friends, and she was like, I love this, I need this. And they were standing like that and there, and I was like, I just hope you have checked the price, because Toothless is $120. And then her friend turns around and says, girl, you know that's $120. And she said, yes, and I want it. And then the other friend said, then you will get it for Christmas from me. What an amazing friend. I mean, paying $120 plushie for an old grown woman who adores Toothless, that's amazing. Really love that. And she got her Toothless. This was the splitting one, so I showed her how it can split, how it can sit, and she was amazed. It's by Snuggle Beans Crochet, and I did lower a bit price. I usually sell my Toothless for around $140 or $150 depending on the market. I'll probably just keep my prices bigger for some other markets. It usually depends on the markets and the crowds and whether there are other crocheters. Speaking of crocheters, there is always one crocheter. It is a young girl. She's been doing the same market with me. Actually, last year we had 4 crocheters. This year it's only me and her for this whole year, and she has like $5 to $10 items, and I don't want to lower my prices. I could have easily lowered my prices to compete with her, but that's not the point. I don't want to do that. I value my time, I value my work, and I'm gonna stick with my plushies being $15, and I'm gonna let her have her spot and earn some money, because guys, she's only 13, 14, and I admire her so much. She's doing an amazing job for such a young age. She only does one day, and stall fee for one day is pretty expensive. She needs to sell a lot just to pay for the stall fee. So I just don't want to compete with her. I just want her to have her customers and to sell, and we have different things. We definitely have different smaller plushies, and I just hope she did well, because it was kind of slow day. There was not a lot of kids, so I just hope she did it good. What usually happens in markets like this, I tend to sell bigger items because she's selling smaller, but it was complete opposite this time. I was only selling smaller items. I sold, let me check. I have sold 18 mini plushies. My mini plushies are $15, and I've sold $20 mini plushies. They are also very small. So this year people were only buying small items. Out of the bigger plushies that I have sold, I sold 2 drifts, and I have gifted 1 drift for my stall holder friend. I sold only 1 kitten and only 2 small mystery boxes. That just shows that there were no kids there. I also sold medium octos. I have them in value ball from Spotlight Yarn, and then I priced them for $18 just because they are slightly bigger than the smaller octos. Those are all from Jade Octos. Honestly guys, octos were my definitely best seller because I sold 4 of those for $18 and I sold 4 of the mini ones and 2 drifts. Just octos were the best seller as an animal. I sold shark, and you remember when I was making that shark that I said I'm never gonna make the bigger one because the smaller one was enough work to make a bigger one. And guess what the guy who was buying shark asked me? Do you have a bigger one? I'm like, of course. Of course I didn't have, so he bought the smaller one because there was no other. I also sold 3 of the mini stingrays. They are in my $20 basket. From the swing animals, I sold 1 axolotl, 1 cat on the swing, and 1 walrus. And that's it. Swing animals are $25 for me. And I sold splitting frog. I think it's called Figgy the Frog from a Snuggle Beans Crochet. Yeah, that's one of the only bigger plushies that's sold. I sell my splitting animals for $52. And I was actually thinking, should I lower the price just because I want them to have a bigger turnaround, but I feel like $52 is still enough for the size I get out of them. I've sold 5 pop-up plushies. 2 were jellyfish and 2 were mushroom pop-up and 1 was sunflower. Oh my god, that sunflower. I'm just gonna insert the picture so you can see because I cannot unsee it now. When someone told me, they thought that was Baby Yoda and they were holding it like that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Now that you have shown me, I cannot unsee it. I guess it's Baby Yoda because everyone keeps asking, what is this? What is this? I'm like, it's just a pop-up sunflower with eyes. And no one can see it as a sunflower. I guess from now on it's Baby Yoda. I'm just gonna say it is whatever you think it is. I sold 1 Kindle cover and I sold only 2 snap tabs. Yeah, snap tabs were not... I mean, there were no kids and young adults, that's the reason. And I sold 1 beanie, 1 baby beanie. My beanies did get some attention. There was one lady who asked me if they are wool beanies, and I said no, unfortunately they wouldn't be this cheap if that was wool. And one boy was trying on a beanie and one mama bought for her baby for next winter, and that's it. All my children beanies will be going to the charity. I will keep the adult ones for the next year, for next season, and then if they don't sell, they will be going to charity. Like I mentioned, I sold a lot of scrunchies, I sold a lot of bows, and I sold 1 of my knitted bows. I lowered the price to only $15 because I want it gone, and I sold it in this green velvet yarn that I have from Spotlight. I just bought that yarn to test it for plushies and it just didn't work. I don't like to work with velvet yarn because I don't like the shine it gives to plushies, and I don't like, I don't know, I just don't like velvet yarn, nothing special. So I used half of that skein to make a beanie, and I knitted a bow, and one lady bought a bow, so $15. Love that because that's my stash busting, and I love just seeing yarn go out of my stash and being sold. Amazing. And that is actually it. I mean, I can tell you what plushies sold when it comes to mini $15 plushies. I sold 1 white chicken, I sold 4 octos, I sold 2 Stardew Valley chickens, I sold 1 axolotl. Those were all the new ones that I was making as a keychain. Bear, capybara, cow, dino, both puppies were gone, and seal. That's all from $15 basket. And from $20 basket I sold cockatoo, cow, dragon. Oh my god, that dragon, I actually didn't thought that it would sell because I didn't like it, but I honestly thought that I would put it in a mystery box, but it sold. One grandma bought it for a kid like a Christmas gift. I sold duck, koala, manatee, monkey, Perry the platypus, and just platypus, and some booty frogs. I honestly had only 3 situations where I need to stop kids. I am very anxious when it comes to kids and food and markets, and I speak up for myself. I don't just sit there anxiously watching kids having drinks and food around my plushies, I literally stop anyone coming to my stall with food and warn them. I just realized that my focus was here all the time, so I hope I wasn't blurry all this time. I apologize for that if it was like so. I had one girl who was eating chocolate donut when I was away from my stall. As I was walking in, I saw her grabbing one of the scrunchies and I stopped her immediately. Unfortunately, she did touch the scrunchie, but there was no chocolate on her hands, luckily. She ran away immediately. I had one girl who was trying to decide for a long time which plushie she will take, and she was holding that ducky in her hands and she was very aggressive towards it. She was squeezing it like that. And then she went into her bag to count the money and she was just holding it tightly while she was going through the notes that were jumbled in her bag, and she wasn't careful and she snagged the plushie on her zipper, and I noticed that. And since it was chenille yarn, you could see a slightly fluff on the head of the plushie. And when she was done with everything, I asked her, would you like me to hold the plushies for you so you can pay? And she said no, because I'm still deciding which one I want. And then she looked into two of them and noticed the fluff on the head, and I said, you have just snagged that plushie while you were counting your money. And she said, well, I guess I will have to pay for this one. And I just said, thank you, I appreciate that. She managed to remove the fluff. There was no damage to the stitch, it was just the fluff that came off, so luckily nothing bad happened, but I really do appreciate that she acknowledged that and paid for the plushie. And I also had one boy, I'm not sure if he had like any disability or he was just careless. He was older, like he was 13, 14. He was very aggressive to all the plushies. Every single plushie that he took, he would slam it back into the table. And his sister warned him 2 times and he was just laughing and he didn't listen. And the 3rd time I just couldn't handle it anymore and I asked him, please, can you be gentle? These are all handmade. And he went red immediately and he was frozen. I honestly thought he's gonna cry because he was like told off by an adult, and his sister were just smirky laughing into him because she was happy, and they left immediately because he was red, like he was tomato red. He was embarrassed. They left immediately. Usually when the kids are by themselves and they don't have phone or bag on them, I will tell them, because they are there just to make a mess. They won't buy anything. If I see a kid with a phone, there is a chance they have a credit card on the phone. If there is, usually girls wear bags and they have cash in the bags or credit cards. It doesn't have to be credit cards. It's usually a debit card. My kids are 11 and 16 and they do have debit cards, so when they are shopping they are paying with their own money and their own cards. So usually I won't stop kids if I see that they have money on them. If there are kids that they don't have money on them and there's no parent around and I knew they're not gonna buy anything, they're just gonna make a mess, I just stop them. At that point I might lose a sale, but I just don't care. I don't like kids being... We'll talk about the kids when we come to the second market because there's so much to talk about the kids. Stay tuned for that. So technically this is the wrap up of my makers market. I did okay. I wasn't overly happy. What I appreciate about this market is an easy setup. You set up for 2 days. You don't have to stress about the weather. It is a beautiful market and that's why I'm coming back. I'm doing less markets. I'm doing less outdoor markets. I appreciate all the indoor markets and I will be back for this market. My only thing is I wish it was less money. Next year for the May market, she will only do 1 day. It's gonna be Saturday and it's gonna be like more towards Mother's Day market, and we'll see how that will go. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna pay less because I'm gonna book a small spot, and that's the wrap up for the makers market. Technically this was my worst makers market ever. Usually April markets are the worst, and this time I did worse than April markets, so it's all on me and I won't change it. I'm not going back into scrunchies because scrunchies are not selling as they used to 3 or 4 years ago, and I just decided that I cannot handle the stock for the clothes. It is just too much work and I will be turning this more into my hobby again rather than running a business. The week after, I had 2 markets planned. I had my Friday market that was the school market, and I had uni special market planned for the Saturday. I have cancelled uni special market just because the weather was unpredictable and my husband got late minute tickets for Metallica concert, so he took our daughter to Metallica, and I decided that I don't want to do the market because I wasn't sure of the weather. So I did film a market vlog for my school market because I was planning on doing a separate video, but then I decided I'm just gonna put them all together. So now I will roll that footage that I'm showing you everything that I have made for that school market. And when it comes to school market, I only have before footage. I don't even have after, because we'll talk about it in a second. It is actually market day today. I have another 3 or 4 hours, no, actually less than 3 hours before I have to leave. And I was about to tag my new makes, but I wanted to show them to you before I leave or in case they sell. Honestly, I thought I would make a lot more. I had a huge list after the makers market because I sold a lot of $15 and $20 items, and I had a huge list of things that I want to remake. I didn't do any of those. I just wasn't feeling, because we were supposed to have another market tomorrow, but at the moment it is forecasted with scattered thunderstorm and showers, and it's gonna be really hot and humid, and I'm just not feeling doing it. We were supposed to do it with big gazebo and scrunchies and embroidery and everything, and my husband would be with me, but since it's gonna rain, the only option I have is going with a smaller gazebo because my old one is old and beaten up with holes and everything, and therefore do only crochet. I'm not sure if I want to do it. The reason he cannot come with me because he managed to get a late minute tickets to Metallica concert tomorrow, and I'm so happy for him because he's taking our daughter. Both of them are huge fans of Metallica, and I'm so happy that he can take her to experience that. He already saw them, I think 10 years ago back in Croatia, but this is a great opportunity for her to experience such a big concert while she can. I'm not sure how old are they and if they will have another chance. Is this their last big tour? I'm not sure. I'm not that much into Metallica. Both of them are, so yeah, I'm happy for them. I'm really happy, and that's why I wasn't feeling the market with the weather and rain and everything. And by the way, it's an open stadium, so there is a chance that they will be wet too. So, but I just couldn't be bothered with getting my plushies wet and everything, so I just decided I'm not gonna do tomorrow's market. Today's small school market is gonna be just 4 hours. It's gonna be from 5 to 9, and it's easy going. This time she put me inside. She actually asked us if anyone wants to be inside the school, and I did ask just so I'm less anxious about the weather and winds and things like that. I'm not sure if that will do me good or bad. We'll see. This is like really easy and nothing special market. If I do $300 there, I'll be happy. I don't expect a lot. That's why I didn't market prep a lot. What I did is I did another drift. This one wasn't sold on my last market, but I did gift this one to my stall holder friend. So yeah, I just wanted another one to get through this yarn, and with that same yarn I made one of these octos. Octos were my best seller in the makers market. I had the $15 ones, these are my $18 ones, and I sold 2 drifts, so for some reason octos were selling like crazy. This is actually the only pattern that I can batch make, and I'm glad because this was selling like crazy, especially the small $15 ones. And then whole week I was just knitting on the blankets. Let me quickly show you because I finished one of the blankets, knitted blankets. I talked about this blanket in my knitting video, but I'm just gonna mention it here because I finished it with crochet border. This is gonna go for charity. You can't see the full size. This is folded in half. This was such a fun make, and to finish the blanket I was supposed to do I-cord edging, which is very long and tiring and it's very tedious. I love I-cord edge, but for what this is I just didn't want to spend that much time. So what I did, I crochet the border. I did one round of half double crochet, and the last round I finished with reverse single crochet or crab stitch. There are two names for the same stitch, so it just gives a beautiful and simple edging, and this is the simplest and easiest border you can do on such a simple blanket. So I love the way this looks. This is all done in Spot Saver 10-ply yarn, and I do see myself already make another one of these. So this one is gonna go for charity, and at the same time I was also working on a different charity blanket because I have a lot of this mandala ombre. If you remember in June when all these skeins were like 3 for 15, I bought a ton of it, and this is the happy colorway, which looks happy, but I have no use for this color. Honestly, this makes me happy to work with because it's so nice to work with these colors, but I don't have the purpose of these colors in my home because I'm very plain and simple and basic, except for my room, but that's the yarn and threads that you can see. That's the only colors you can see in my house. It's in this room. The other one I'm making for my daughter is black and pink, so she doesn't even like these colors. And I decided I have 6 skeins. I find a pattern that needs only 3 skeins for a different type of the blanket, so I'm making another blanket for charity. I'm already halfway through it. This is diagonal blanket. You are working increases and then you start decreases when you are halfway through your yarn. This is such an easy, mindless project. I started this on Monday. It's Friday today, and I think this will be done this weekend because it is such a quick make. It is a knitted blanket. It works really nice and quick. It is more engaging because there is some lace work, there is some purling, there is some garter, so it's beautiful. It's really working really nice, and I love the way this yarn feels. I'm already crocheting my daughter a blanket out of this yarn. I already made my husband a hexicardi, and I have to admit I prefer knitting with this yarn. It just feels so much nicer on my needles than it does on my hook. It's very slippery yarn, so it's slipping off the hook easier than it is from the needles. This is gonna be only 3 skeins, and I'm happy that I'm gonna get this out of my stash. Another beautiful stash busting project is gonna be a baby blanket for charity, and I'm really glad for it. And another thing I caved in was Demon Hunters. I was watching Robin from Notting Hill Crochet. She made the dolls, and those dolls are actually, she made one doll, and that doll is really beautiful, and I was thinking should I do it, but I just don't have time or capacity at the moment to do anything like that. Neither do I have markets, so maybe I'll just leave that for the next year if it's still gonna be popular. But I remember watching her probably a month ago when she was making Derpy Tiger, and I thought that could be a quick and good make for market prep, so I caved in and bought that pattern. And last night I did my first one out of Hobby Toucan yarn. He's pretty small, but he is really cute and adorable. Before I bought the pattern, I actually asked my daughter what she thinks of this because she's a huge fan of Demon Hunters and she loves the movie and everything K-pop. She said, yes, definitely make them. They're very popular and this would be a good seller. So for the size I got, I think I'm gonna price this one $28 because this is quite a bit of work. He is tiny, but there is so much color change and there is so much surface crocheting. By the time I was done with the crochet part, I thought, okay, I just have ears, tongue, and I'm done. But honestly, it's never ending. I was like, okay, it's not just tongue. There is a muzzle to be embroidered. There is a nose. And I didn't read through the pattern in advance. I cut the yarn for the nose, and then I realized, oh no, I have to do some embroidering on the ears. So I had to bring in another yarn. And then there is this stripes that needs to be embroidered. And then I thought, finally I am done. But no, he has teeth. I mean, I couldn't even notice where the teeth are in the picture. I had to zoom in to find them, and they go they just go next to the tongue, and I was like, seriously, do we need this? I didn't do them for the other ones, I'll show you in a second. And then he needs hat, and I was like, no way I'm making hat. I was done by that time, and I was like, I need to check with my daughter. So I asked her if he actually has a hat, because I googled and there was no hat, and she said no, he actually doesn't wear a hat. He carries a bird on top of his head, and that bird has a hat. So I was like, perfect, no bird, no hat, easy. Why would I make myself more work? Because this was actually a lot of work. It's nothing hard, nothing difficult. It's actually enjoyable, but it is a lot for how tiny he ends up in chenille yarn. And that's why I decided I don't want to make any more in chenille yarn. And the other two, I managed to make two this morning. I made in Modavira blanket yarn. And this is the size I got. Let me show you the size difference. So yeah, the size in Modavira is so much better. I'm gonna charge $38 for this one. I do have higher prices because, don't forget guys, I'm in Australia, so with all the conversions and the price of our yarn here in Australia, I do have my prices up. And I'm in Sydney. I'm in the most expensive city in Australia, so these prices work for me, and especially on the markets that I tend to pay extra. If I'm paying $300 or $500 for market stall fee, I need to bump my prices. I cannot sell this cheap. So I'm gonna price this one $38, and that is around 24-25 US dollars. So I feel like it is a reasonable price for Sydney. I got two of them, so I feel like I nailed his face here on this one, just because I managed to get this embroidered stripes on the right spot compared to the other one. I do have different eyes on all of them because I didn't have the same eyes, same discs for the eyes. These are 23 mil eyes, and I think this one is 16 mil. So yeah, that's all I made this week. I made 5 little plushies. I was working on a blanket. That blanket is not a necessity. I'm just working on it because it's relaxing and it gives me mindless project. I forgot to mention, this pattern is by Green Frog Crochet, and the pattern is called Lazy Tiger. So yeah, that's all I did this whole week. Market is today. You will see my market setup, and I won't be filming at the market. It is a school market. Usually school markets in Australia are not supervised by parents because our schools are enclosed schools, so parents feel safe to let their kids loose, which is a bummer because kids can really get loose, and I get stressed, and I always have to be careful, watch for every kid if they're having candies, dirty hands, food, anything. So it is a stressful market, and since there is a lot of kids, I'm not gonna film around kids. I don't even put my kids on internet, especially I don't want to do for someone else's kids. So there won't be any footage from the market, except you will see my stall before and after. I have all my videos for November planned and scheduled. I'm so happy because this winter I wasn't filming, I wasn't doing any videos, and all of a sudden I have so much going on and so many video plans, and it feels great. It feels great to be on top of everything again. You can see just me sitting here. This wasn't planned. I just wanted something quick and easy and casual without me sitting here in this chair and having a proper setup, because I'm just tagging my products and I need to pack. I need to get ready for the market, put my makeup, get myself ready and presentable to go out in the public, even though this video is going out in the public, but oh well. What are my plans for December? I have decided that I'm gonna do Vlogmas. It's gonna be a lot. I might fail. I'm gonna try. I'm not sure if I'm gonna succeed, and if I fail, that's fine. 24 days is a lot to film and to commit, knowing that life can happen a lot can happen in 24 days, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give myself an early start of 3 days, because I know a lot of YouTubers do that, because it's not possible to film a video in a one day and edit in the evenings to be able to publish it early morning. And I just don't want to put that pressure on me. So I will have a 3-day early start so that I can start editing my videos and be able to succeed in this. Even if I fail for a day or two, I will still have some backup time of those 3 days in advance. I hope it's achievable. I know it's gonna be daunting and maybe boring. I'm gonna try to make things different, to incorporate different things. It's gonna be my day-to-day life, which is pretty much in this room. This is where I live most of the time. Unless I'm on the school run, I'm cooking and cleaning and have a dog duties. That's all I do most of the days. December is still, most of the time my husband will be at work, my kids will be at school. It's not gonna be a lot. You're not gonna see me making my coffee, doing my bed and cleaning my toilets. This is just gonna be 24 days of me crafting. You will see what I do on day-to-day basis. So it's gonna be crochet and knit related. I'm gonna make sure to crochet different things to these 24 days. I also wanna finish projects. I wanna clear my whips and finish this year with no whips, no bigger projects on my needle. I'm gonna try to work on my daughter's crochet blanket, because that's the only thing that I have neglected for a very long time. There's no way I can finish it in December, but I want to work on it. It's gonna be a more relaxed video. I'm gonna chit chat, maybe give you some tips on the things that I'm working, that I'm noticing that I can talk while I'm working and crocheting and knitting. It's just gonna be like short 15 minutes video every day. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna see how it's gonna go. I know I'm gonna be burnt out probably by second week. I'm gonna feel it, but I'm just gonna give it a go. I have nothing special planned for December. No holidays at the moment. We might have some holidays in January, but December is pretty much gonna be me in this chair crafting like every single day. That's what I do. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm gonna give you a snippet of my day, just 15 minutes. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do embroidery. I haven't touched my embroidery machine for quite a long. I should have for these school markets, because I'm completely out of my stitch snap tabs, but I just didn't. I didn't feel the need to turn it on. But we'll see if these Christmas holidays I will feel the need to do some embroidery. Maybe I'll show you the embroidery. I'm not gonna promise anything, but crochet and knits is gonna be definite. Stay tuned. I need to go market prep. I need to go get ready for my market, pack the car, and we'll see you at the market. So, how did the school market go? Straight out of the bag? Well, disaster. Let me just tell you, it was disaster. First of all, I was put inside, which I actually requested. It is a small market. This is my third year doing this market, and first year it was mostly handmade, and I really appreciate it because even the organizer is a handmade business, and I thought she would stick more to the handmade type of the stall holders she would have, but unfortunately not. There are two markets that are organized by the same person, and there are a lot of what I call them Temu crap. It's not just crochet, it's in general Temu crap when it comes to kids' toys. This is a primary school market, so this is the worst customers I could have because high schools are way better, or even college. In Australia, college is from kindergarten to high school, both schools gather together. It's not like, for example, in Europe or I think even America, college means university. Here, college is something different. It is from kindergarten to year 12. Usually those are private schools and those schools are really good. This was just a public primary school with a bunch of kids, and those Temu resellers and crap Alibaba sellers are profiting at this market the best because they are selling a ton of shit. When I say a shit, I truly mean a shit. You can have like $3 plastic toys to a big guns, like huge, for like $10-15. It is so many crap that's being sold at these markets, and those guys who are doing that are profiting really good, and they're killing small businesses. There was always one guy who was selling these things, and I've been seeing him on a lot of markets that he does same to me. I'm no longer doing all of those markets, but every time he was next to me and he was killing my sales just because kids go crazy. It's just a ton of small tiny, it's like you get into the dollar shop and you get a ton of things that you can choose for only a couple of dollars. This time he had neighbor with the exact same thing, and I was shocked to see that he wasn't doing as good as he normally does because this other guy was probably even cheaper, or he was having more trendy items. I don't know. It was disaster. Let me tell you, let's go straight into the sales because I did $171. That's the worst I ever had. I usually have between 300 and 500, and that is good. I was happy with that because it's only 4 hours and the stall fee is $50. Plus we need to donate $20 for their raffle tickets. I gave embroidered kids bag that I had in stock, couple of hair clips and scrunchies. I gave things that didn't cost me a lot because they were already my excess that I was trying to get rid of. I didn't give any plushies. There were a couple of crocheters. There was someone with crochet bags and crochet tiny little acrylic things. I can never tell if those things are coming from China or they are really handmade. I couldn't tell. And there was one lady who, she actually came to my stall and she looked through everything I had. At that time I didn't know she was a stall holder, but when I went walk around I've noticed her. She probably thinks that I didn't because she turned her back and she didn't want to say hi. I'm usually very friendly. If I approach a crocheter, I just want to say hi and chat about crochet. I'm not gonna attack you or whatever, but she wasn't friendly. She just turned her back and she was pretending like she was doing something, but she was a bit rude, but I just couldn't care less. She had like a small plushies for $5. She had a derpy tiger, like a bigger one. I didn't check price. I just couldn't care. I don't care for people like that. She actually checked all of my prices, and I don't know why people do that. Are you really gonna lower your prices? Do you have time to change they probably don't even have tagged products or whatever. I don't know what's the purpose of that. And again, she had a ton of China crap again. Like I couldn't even distinguish what she was selling, like, because the crochet part was like this small part of the table. She maybe had 10 plushes and then the rest was China crap. And honestly, this was the most anxiety I had ever had at the market because I cannot stand kids. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend that I love kids. I just don't like kids. Kids are dirty, kids are rude, they don't care about anything, they are wild, especially when market is in the school and they are without parents supervising them. They are loose because we are inside of the school grounds. School grounds are usually closed and they go wild. They are on their territory, it's their school, and they literally go wild because it's like 10 of them at the same time running around. They were all having like $5 or $10 bills running around. Do you have anything for $5? Do you have anything for $2? I was like, no, no, no. It was just a lot for me. I don't enjoy these markets at all. There was so many food, ice cream, chocolate, donuts. Every single kid had a blue frozen drink that was dripping out of. Everyone had blue mouths, blue hands. My anxiety was through the roof. I don't even know how many kids I have stopped to even come close to my table or either touch anything. My tables were next to each other in a corner, and at some point I had to separate my tables just so I can quickly get out if I need to stop someone, because that's what I was doing all night, guys. Actually, all night I was stopping kids with food to not touch anything. And not to mention the amount of girls that came through. Oh, I want to buy this. I want to buy this. I want to buy this. And they're all having $10 notes. And I'm thinking, girl, there's nothing you can buy here. And they were coming, like the same group of girls probably came 20 times back, and they were bringing their parents over and over, and every time parents, no, 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 because it wasn't in their budget, or they were not willing to spend. It was 8 o'clock. Markets last until 9. It was 8 o'clock when I decided I want to pack down. It was dead, actually. I went out to check the other stalls, and some food trucks were already packing, and I was surprised. If the food truck is packing, this must be a disaster. And then I went to the organizer and talked to her and asked her how was it for her, and she said it was disaster. I'm like, yes. And then I told her, don't you think that those Chinese crap resellers are killing the handmade businesses? Because she's also handmade business. And she was like, she couldn't say anything because she didn't want to acknowledge that, because it's obvious. It was really obvious. But I just asked her, is there a chance to start packing early because this is dead? And she said yes, as long as you don't have to bring your car on the school grounds, you're free to go. I was like, easy. We had 3 loads. Our car was out in the street really close to the school, and we were out in 15 minutes. I was supposed to have another school event with the same organizer 2 weeks after, and I decided I'm just gonna cancel it. I didn't pay for it. I'm just gonna cancel it because this was too much anxiety for no money. I mean, money is not an issue. $170 is still okay for me. I would do it again if it wasn't that stressful, if I enjoyed working with kids, and if only kids wouldn't be this dirty and naughty. And high schools, guys. High schools are the schools we need to do, and colleges, uni. That's why I'm doing uni, and I'm keeping my uni spot for the next year. Let me run you quickly through this whopping $171 that I have sold. I've sold 6 $15 plushies. It was 1 mini chicken, 2 octos, 2 cats, and 1 pig. Out of $20 plushies, I sold only 1, and that was cat. Those are all Poggy's Place patterns. I sold 1 lavender. I had 1 bouquet that wasn't selling for a long time, and I haven't made any new flowers, so I just decided to disassemble that bouquet and pack all the flowers individually, and I sold 1 lavender for $6. I sold a bunch of mini scrunchies, extra large scrunchies, not a lot. I think in total that was like $30 just in hair accessories. I sold 3 snap tabs, and they were all sold individually. I have 1 for 10 or 2 for 15, and I sold them individually. And there was one father who was so rude because his daughter started to cry. She wanted both flower and snap tab, and he didn't allow her, so she started to cry, and he just wasn't in the mood. He couldn't keep it in, and he came to me and can we pay for that one thing, and can we get some discounts because this is not handmade? I'm like, no sir, this is handmade. And he said, no it's not. And I just said, yes it is. I just wasn't in the mood to explain the process because he was so rude. He was snapping because of his daughter crying, and I was like, seriously, $10? You're just gonna crash my prices because you think it's not handmade? There's plenty of China crap over there. You can just go there and buy something. It's not my fault your kid is crying. So that's all, guys. I am left with quite a good number of plushies. My markets are done. I'm done for the season and I'm happy. I didn't do a lot of markets. I had more time to relax and think about what I want for the next year. And next year I'm gonna go with even less markets. I'm just gonna keep my uni markets because they are really stress-free. Like you saw through all of this year, uni markets can be between $100 and can be $1,500, and whatever I get, I'm happy because how stressless these markets are, and I really enjoy working at the uni markets. The biggest market that I have dropped this year was definitely my Kayama market. I've done Kayama market for 4 years and it is a good market. It can vary, like Kayama market can go between $200 to $2,000 depending on the day. I did good at Kayama, but at the same time Kayama has a different stress. It is the weather, it is the wind. So I'm actually happy that I dropped Kayama because I was depending a lot on my husband, and I will see what markets I plan on doing next year. I honestly have no idea. At the moment I'm again waitlisted for the Supanova and I'm just not even overthinking or stressing. What happens happens. I'm just gonna continue crocheting things that I enjoy. I won't be batch making, I won't be market prepping. I will be making things that I want to make and that I enjoy. I'm gonna talk more about this in January when I decide what the future for my business will be. So that is it. That is the wrap up for the market season of 2025. Like you saw in the beginning of the vlog on Friday that I filmed, I have announced that I will be doing Vlogmas. Next week I will have one more video which is gonna be knitting podcast where I'm gonna wrap up everything that I've been making through November. I do have a lot of finished objects and I do have new exciting whips, and then coming 1st December I will have Vlogmas. I am really excited. It's gonna be short and sweet. I'm gonna take you along with my day. My days are boring. This is where I spend my days, honestly guys. This chair is where I spend most of my days and you will get to see me crocheting and knitting. I did make plans because I don't want to bore you looking at me, I don't know, crocheting a blanket every single day. That would be boring. So to keep this interested, I'm gonna make some plushies. I'm gonna do every day one different plushie and I will be focusing on Pokemons because Pokemons are always a good seller. Whether I'm prepping for Supanova or any other bigger market or just for my uni markets, I need Pokemons. I usually don't like to make them because I don't like to batch make, and if I can make one Pokemon in those 24 days of Vlogmas, I will end up with 24 Pokemons. That would be amazing. So stay tuned for Vlogmas. I will try to keep it fun, short and interesting. It's definitely gonna be something new for me. It's gonna be a lot. I will have a 3-day head start because there's no way a person can film in 1 day, export, edit and upload videos, so I need a head start of 3 days to be able to edit the videos and have them out in time. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.